Hello to you, beautiful, beautiful people. In 2003, a long time ago now, 2003, there was a whiteboard on a ship which was the largest, probably still is the largest ship in Her Majesty's Navy, called HMS Ocean, largest by tonnage. And on that whiteboard, there was a word at the top which was bad boys. Yep. And don't know why I'm smiling, it's not funny. But the top of that list on that ship, on that whiteboard, in the what's his name? I forget the name. Sergeant Major. Boom. See, you forget these terms, don't you? It's been a long time. The Sergeant Major's whiteboard was my name. So I was the top bad. But I don't know why I'm smiling. It's not funny at all. It's not funny at all. So I was the top bad boy. Top bad boy. Yeah. So what did this actually mean? Well, it didn't mean anything good. It didn't mean that I was a bad person. All it meant was one thing, that on that ship, it was pretty horrific and it was a pretty horrible experience, to say the least. I'm not going to go into everything that happened, but it was awful. It was awful. And I decided that I didn't like it anymore, and I wanted to do different things, like be an anxiety consultant. So I wanted to leave the Marines and do something else. And so I went into the Sergeant Major's office and I said, Sergeant Major, I want to put in my notice to leave the Marines. At that time, you had to give a 12 months notice. You had to give a year notice. He said, okay, all right. And from that day, he put my name at the top of a bad boy list. And just so you know, I was the only person on the list. Yep, there was just me. Yep, and a couple of names came and went. Maybe they were on it for a week or 10 days. But I was there for the entire year. It's not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing at all. I don't know why I'm laughing at all. Which what turned into probably one of the worst years of my life. And so from that, why did he put me on this list? Well, he put me on this list because he decided that because I wanted to leave, then somehow, I deserved punishment in some sort of way. So what he did is then he restricted my privileges for an entire year, which is illegal. So imagine if you actually commit a crime under military law, then you may be given restricted privileges for a week, maybe a couple of weeks, have to do certain duties. Yep, I had to do it for an entire year, which was 100% illegal. He broke the law, and it made my life absolutely shit. Yeah. So what did I do? What did I do for an entire year? So for my last year in the Marines, I cleaned the toilets in the sergeant's mess, and I washed plates. So every day for an entire year, that's what I did, which isn't bad necessarily in itself, but it's more bad so when you're in the Marines, when you live on a ship like that, yeah, so it's like they're literally your friends, your parents, your colleagues, they're everything to you. They're your entire world. So when you get treated in that way, it's obviously tremendously bullying, and it really does destroy your confidence. Destroys it, absolutely destroys it. Imagine a year of all your friends, all the people around you. You're not allowed to do jobs. So I was no longer allowed to be a Marine. I was no longer allowed to do any of the things that I normally did for my actual job. And literally all I was made to do was forced to clean toilets and wash dishes for an entire year, which destroyed my confidence and made me feel really, really shit in myself. And then I was just kicked out, and then that was it. And because it annoyed me so much, yeah, it really did piss me off. Like 12 months, can you imagine that? 12 months of doing that every day, and you're forced to do it by law. So by military law, you're forced to do it. If I didn't do it, I'd go to jail. Yeah. It's really shit, isn't it? And then obviously so many people around you, all the sergeant majors cohorts, the sergeants, the officers, all these people then bully you and treat you poorly because they assume you're doing those jobs because you're either bad at your job or because you've done something wrong. But I didn't do anything wrong at all. It literally put me on there just because I requested to leave. Yeah. So as I look back today on those events, it made me think that so now, just to give you a perspective, so now I try and look at everything from a perspective of empowerment. Yep. So I always look at what I can control in a situation. So I don't look and blame him for making those choices. He was a bit of an idiot. You get them. And so I look at what I could have controlled in that situation. As I looked back, yeah, what I should have done was when he put my name on that list illegally, and then forced me to do those things. I should have gone into the office and confronted him. Should have confronted him directly, yeah, and put it on him, yeah, and say, and told him the score, that what he was doing was wrong, illegal, and I wasn't going to fucking put up with it. That's what I should have told him. But I didn't do that, did I? I didn't do that because of how anxious I felt at the time. So why didn't I do it? Well, just to give you this understanding, because this is how it is for many people who experience anxiety or insecurity. What happens is the key moments in life, the tough moments, we fucking don't stand up for ourselves. We don't stand up for ourselves in a way that you really need to get the things done. Yep. So my pattern back then was I didn't want to stand up for him. I didn't want to go in and speak to him because obviously I'd been really filled with like anger and nervousness and all this tension. I don't want to go in there because firstly I wouldn't be able to control myself fully, and secondly he'd have seen how pissed off and anxious and frustrated I feel. It would have been all over my face, and that made me feel really uncomfortable, the thought of that, because I was a person up till then, I really hid my emotions from people. I really hid my anxiety, hid my fears, hid those types of things. I was really good at it. So whenever I had to go into a situation where I was so filled with emotion that someone was going to see it and I couldn't control myself, I tended to gravitate away from that situation. And because of that, it cost me 1 year of pain, and more than that, because all the abuse and stuff I put up with during that time then made the several years that I left the Marines much worse than they probably could have, would have, or should have been because of that. Because it really put me in a really shitty state. Not the best state to really move forward and do things in your life, is it? So what have you done? Well, I've just been cleaning toilets for an entire year, and have been abused, been treated poorly, been treated like crap, spoken down to every single day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, because you obviously live where you work. So I was there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week most of the time, treated in that type of way. But looking back from an empowered perspective, I should have fucking stood up for myself. I should have gone in there, had it out with him, told him the fucking score, even if it had charged me with some kind of crime for swearing at him or for being direct with him. But I should have, because he would have respected that, and even if he didn't like it, he would have respected it, and he would have had to think about things differently. Yeah, but I made it easier for him to bully me, I made it easier for him to treat me poorly, I made it easy for him to do all of those things because I never even fucking confronted him about it. And put it on him that time. I was a pretty young kid. I was like 23. He was probably like in his 40s. I'd been in the Marines like 30 years. So yeah, I made lots of excuses at the time. But imagine that one action of me not doing that maybe cost me 5 years of pain, 5 years of trouble, 5 years of discomfort from all the accumulative influences that had on my life over those next few years. Yeah. So 5 years of pain, of problems, of relationships breaking up, of jobs falling down, of all these different problems that arose in my life because of it. I let happen because I didn't have not because I didn't have the courage, but because I chose that was the right thing to do, to not stand up for myself in that situation. And it makes you think, doesn't it? It makes you think about those things in your life, really, and how standing up for yourself in one occasion, standing up for yourself today. There's something in your life today that maybe you're ignoring, maybe you're not focusing on, maybe you're putting up with, and you're not really being bold about it. You're not really standing up for yourself, and you're not really putting your foot down and saying what you want, and doing the thing that really needs to be done. And maybe it's because you have similar patterns to what I did, where you feel anxious and conflict about those things, and you find it easier to avoid them and withdraw from them. Maybe it's that, maybe it isn't, but it makes you think, doesn't it? It makes you think how very often people follow these little patterns that don't seem like that important at the time, but just avoiding one thing today can cause years or decades of pain in your life, decades in a way that frustrates people. All my clients today, when I speak to them and they come in and talk to me and let me know all the problems and challenges they're having in their life, quickly in a few minutes I can see how the same thing that happened to me has happened to them, where they had key events in their life, key events where they needed to be bold, where they needed to stand up for themselves, where they needed to take positive action, where they needed to be empowered, where they needed to be the dude to get shit done, and they did not do it. They did not do it, and this cascaded, yeah. Maybe cascaded later on with a relationship where they're a wimp and they're not standing up for themselves. Maybe it's cascaded later on that they feel anxious and overwhelmed because they've been living in fear so long, because they're afraid of breaking through, in the way that I was back then as well. Maybe they've been caught in a job that they fucking hate. Yeah. Maybe they're not stepping up and doing the actions needed to grow their business. There's so many different ways these small actions can limit us and hold us back, in our lives. But as I look back now, I can see that I made the wrong choice. I should have walked in there, slammed his door open, told him the score, and then if he'd really fucked with me and not let me do it, I should have gone to the police, the military police, and told them what he was doing and get him done for it. Yeah, I should have done that. But the problem is, if I'd have done that, they definitely would have attacked me violently. They definitely would have done everything they could to destroy my career and cause me all kinds of more problems. So I was caught in a conflicting place, wasn't I? I was caught in a conflicting place where I didn't really know what to do. Cool. Well, that's my insight, guys. Insight from my life and the choices that I've made in my life, and how today, now, I'd never ever go back to making those types of choices ever again. Regardless what happened, I make the bold choices for me, for my family, for my children, for my mental health, for my emotional well-being, for my finances, for my enjoyment of life. The bold decisions are the way forward in life. Whether you're resisting, reflect on how those one decisions that you can just decide to intuitively resist in a moment can cause you years and years and years and years and years of conflict, pain, resistance, avoidance, anxiety, and stress in the future. Awesome, guys. Take care.